Great. In today's lesson, we're going to be using the value of the discriminant to determine how many solutions a quadratic equation has. The discriminant, the definition of it is in the quadratic formula. The expression b squared minus 4ac is the discriminant of the associated equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. And if you remember the quadratic formula, which we have right here, b squared minus 4ac is part of the quadratic formula, and we also call that the discriminant. It's what's under the square root sign, and it determines the number of the solutions in a quadratic equation. So pause the video, make sure you copy the definitions down, and when you're ready, restart. So b squared minus 4ac, when the value of the discriminant is greater than 0, meaning it is positive, we have two solutions. That means we have two x-intercepts, if you can tell that from a graph by looking at it. So we have two x-intercepts. When the value of the discriminant equals 0, there is one solution. And we would find that right here. That means there's one x-intercept. And when the value of the discriminant is less than 0, meaning it is negative, there are no solutions. And if you look at the graph, you can see that the parabola never touches the x-intercept. And the reason that there are no solutions is because we can't take the square root of a negative number. So anytime your discriminant underneath the radical sign, underneath the square root sign is negative, we don't have a solution. So pause it if you need to. If not, flip over to the next page. In example 1, we're going to use the discriminant to determine how many solutions the quadratic equation has. So let's look at example 1. In A, for each of these, we're going to determine what A is equal to, B is equal to, and C is equal to. In x squared minus 3x minus 2 equals 0, A equals 1, B is negative 3, and C is negative 2. Now remember, the only part of the quadratic formula that we're using is what's under the square root sign, your b squared minus 4ac. So we're going to use our A, B, and C in our discriminant, and we are going to square our b, our negative 3, minus 4 times 1 times negative 2. And if you remember what I've said before, when you're doing this in your calculator, put the negative 3 in parentheses, minus, and I put that 4ac all in parentheses, and then hit enter. And when I do that, I get a solution of 17. My discriminant in this case is positive, greater than 0. Therefore, I have two solutions. And if you want to check yourself, go ahead and graph it. And you should see that when you graph this equation, x squared minus 3x minus 2 equals 0, you should see it has two x-intercepts. In B, again, we're going to list out A is 3. We don't have a Z value. So B is 0 in this case, and C is 2. And we're going to go ahead and plug that into b squared minus 4ac again. So we have 0 squared minus 4 times 3 times 2. And when I put that into my calculator, you guys go ahead and do that. Again, pause anytime you need to. I get 24. Because the discriminant is negative, and I cannot take the square root of a negative, I'm getting no solution. And again, go ahead and plug this equation into your calculator and check it by graphing. You should see that there are no x-intercepts. And lastly, for C, my values of A, B, and C. A equals 2, B equals 8, and C equals 8. pause the video for a second, go ahead and plug them in and see what the value of your discriminant is. When I plug it in, I have 8 squared minus 4 times 2 times 8 equals 0. Because the value of my discriminant is 0, I have one solution. And again, check your solution by graphing. All right, we're moving on to example 2. To find the number of solutions, we're going to tell whether the equation negative 2x squared plus 4x equals 2 has 2 solutions, 1 solution, or no solution. As you know from every other quadratic equation that we have solved, we need to put this equation in standard form. So go ahead and do that and pause the video if you need to. To put it in standard form, we are subtracting 2 from each side. And step 2 is to find the value of the discriminant. So again, pause the video to find your values of A, B, and C. Okay. Plug them into the discriminant b squared minus 4ac and determine how many solutions you get. So go ahead and pause it. All right, when you come back, you should have plugged in 4 minus 4 times negative 2 times negative 2. We substituted negative 2 in for A, 4 in for B, and negative 2 in for C. The value of your discriminant is 0. The discriminant is 0, so therefore we have one solution, only one x-intercept. Check by graphing. All right, go ahead and pause the video and do the checkpoint for 1 through 4. And when you're ready, turn it back on. Okay. Welcome back. For number 1, we have 2 solutions. You should have gotten a positive discriminant. 2 is no solution. You should have gotten a negative discriminant. 3 is 2 solutions, positive discriminant. And 4 is 1 solution. Your discriminant should have been 0. Okay? All right, moving right along to the next page of the note-taking guide. In example 3, we're going to find the number of x-intercepts in the graph y equals negative x squared plus 3x plus 4. Number of x-intercepts means number of solutions. So we're going to find the number of solutions of the equation x equals negative x squared plus 3x plus 4. Again, we're using our discriminant b squared minus 4ac. A equals, B equals, C equals. Pause the video and please write down what A, B, and C are. All right, and then we're going to take those numbers and substitute them into b squared minus 4ac. So we substituted negative 1 for A, 3 for B, and 4 for C. Go ahead and pause it. When you come back, you should have gotten the discriminant of 25, meaning the discriminant is positive. Therefore, we have 2 solutions. If you have 2 solutions, that means that we have 2 x-intercepts. And check it by graphing the equation on your graphing calculator. And when you do that, you should see that we have 2 x-intercepts. So pause it in with your partners. I'd like you to do numbers 5 and 6. All right, welcome back. For number 5, you should have gotten no x-intercepts because the discriminant was negative. And number 6, you should have gotten 1 x-intercept because the discriminant was equal to 0. And again, you should have paused it. You should have graphed it on your calculator to check. And that concludes our lesson. You can rewatch the video as many times as you need to, and come to me with any questions. Thank you.